Next up, we got Alex Morono taking on Joaquin Buckley. This is a really difficult fight for me, Rich. I'm looking at this on paper and I'm saying to myself, the things that I like about Buckley, I think he's more likely to mix in takedowns in this spot. I think he's got more power on the feet. And I think that he could probably close the distance on Alex Morono and land some good shots. The problems that I see for him in this fight is that Buckley's been chinned a couple times. Morono's got a pretty basic approach to the game, but he's got a good coach. His coach is constantly screaming at him. He's very coachable. And so Saif Saud is like, move, left, circle, go, Alex, don't stand there. And he's like just very attentive to what his corner is saying. So you see, he's like a programmed fighter out there. And so a lot of the times he'll make some basic mistakes because he's not the most athletic guy, but he listens and he takes direction. So I think that Alex Morono is a good fighter. He's got a good process. He's overperformed expectations, no doubt about it, in the UFC. Way overperformed as an underdog. But this is also one of those rubber meets the road type of situations. You look at his quality of competition in the UFC. Not very good. A lot of the fighters he's fought recently, they've been cut. They've been let go. They haven't really shown up in these fights. Whereas Buckley's fought a lot of guys that are quality. Imavov, Holland, these are guys that are like ranked fighters, relevant at 185 pounds. So I do think of Buckley as a guy who can win big fights, who can make a difference. And he's been in those fights. I thought Imavov was going to run through him, honestly. And it was a much closer fight. Duraev, I bet Buckley there because of the weird interactions before the fight and the former training partner dynamic. He absolutely whooped Duraev's ass. Everybody's like, Jun Young Park is the second coming of Jesus Christ. And I made a mistake there. I thought Albert Duraev was going to win that fight. But in any case, you just look on paper and it's like, maybe we were just undervaluing some of what Buckley was able to do. Came through as a big underdog himself in that spot. So now you're getting a short favorite price on the Buckley side. I feel like he probably gets the job done here, but I'm not bullish on this because in the past I have faded Buckley. I didn't think he was all that good. His chin has given him problems before and he's cutting to 170. So it could always rear its ugly head here, but I do think he's probably more equipped to be at 170. At 185, he was way smaller than his opponents. I think now he feels strong. He feels bullish on coming forward and taking guys down. He was able to take Razak down many times, and he has no technique at all. He's just strong and keeps a low head on a low double and pulls people's knees out from under them. That's the right idea against Morono, who's got a good guillotine, because you don't want to get on a high single leg and then be caught in a high elbow or something. So for me, I think Morono's live to win this fight by guillotine. I think that Buckley does like to shoot a lot of takedowns and could put himself in a vulnerable spot, but I think he's done the right level of preparation. He's taken off his shirt. He's proud of the work he's put in. I feel like he's got a lot of confidence. Give me Buckley here, but hesitant. I think somebody's probably getting finished in this fight. But again, I don't have the clearest read on this dynamic. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the line's off, man. And as soon as I saw it, I jumped on Morono, and I still think the line's off. I think it's a competitive fight. Yeah, Buckley, he is confident. I'm already sweating my bet, and the fight hasn't even fucking started. I do like his confidence, and he is improving. I don't think wrestling Morono would be wise. I think Morono's better in the jiu-jitsu and could easily catch him with something. He has to be careful, and that guillotine's slick, man. He puts it on fast.
I agree.
Yeah, but on the feet, I do think, it's been said already, he's more athletic, he's faster, Buckley, which is all true. But he always impresses me, Morono. He doesn't look super imposing. People in the chat are taking the piss, saying he's a bit tubby, a bit flabby, which he is. But, it doesn't matter when he gets in there and fight, man. He holds his own with the best of them. And he even finishes the best of them. I know Cowboy was washed at that point, but he did what was needed to be done and finished the fight, man. So, yeah, Morono at these odds, I think you have to have a little bet, man.
The thing for me about Morono that I didn't love, because I did tape this fight today, there was a couple times where he had Santiago Ponzinibbio badly hurt in the first round and in the third round, and he just didn't capitalize. Like, his finishing instincts on the ground are pretty good, but on the feet, they're just not there for me. And you look back, and like the resume is so good in terms of the wins. You're like, whoa. But then you just start picking them apart and you're like, oh, David Zawada. Oh, this guy. And you're like, yeah, none of those guys really panned out. So he's been around a long time winning fights. But I'm also like, is this like really as good as I think it is? Or is it kind of smoke and mirrors on the resume? Because a lot of times when he's stepped up against more athletic guys, I think of like a Chaos Williams even, things that go sideways quick, right? And that was Chaos's debut. So maybe people just didn't know about him at that point. But it just seemed like Morono, he's the kind of guy that, well, here's what I like as well, Rich. This is probably one of the only fights he's had in like 5 years where he has a full camp, right? Because like most of the time they're like, hey, Morono, we got to fight for you in 2 days. You ready? He's like, yeah, sure. And that's part of the reason he shows up looking fat. This time he showed up really difficult to get on the scale at 170. I think for whatever reason, even though he had the full preparation, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, Rich, he was like doing one of these like squat deals before he got on the scale. I was like, oh God. Because again, he's going against a power puncher here, but Morono, more paths to potentially victory inside the distance. I would be stunned if Buckley submitted Alex Morono, but basically every other path I feel like is open here. I think both these guys are chinny a little bit, so I'm expecting somebody to get violently finished here, Rich.
Yeah, I'm just checking out what Buckley KO is, man. Yeah, fucking, I can't play that. Plus 100. That's some bullshit, man.
Yeah, that's gross. That's gross. So I think it's probably priced where you either got to get on some Morono side or you've got to take the Buckley money line. I wouldn't play any Buckley props at that pricing personally. Maybe the decision, if you think that Buckley's going to ride out a decision. He did do that against Razak, fought very conservative in that one. And Razak, if y'all have been listening, has been lighting his ass up